part of our work at the Work AI Institute involves partnering not only with academic experts to understand how to drive AI transformation, but also with industry experts, including our own customers. Today, we're joined by an AI expert I deeply admire, Brandon Sammet, Chief People and AI Transformation Officer at Zapier, also a Glean customer. Let's go ahead and dive in. Brandon, thanks so much for joining us today.
Yeah, it's great to be here, Rebecca.
So Brandon, you were just promoted to the Chief People and AI Transformation Officer at Zapier. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Why was it so important for Zapier to create this role specific to AI transformation?
Well, I think we can, draw some inspiration from how a lot of our organizations think about the most important things we're trying to do in the world. Whether it's a new product launch or expanding into a new market, we'll typically choose someone to lead the way. And it's not the only person doing the work. It's not the only person whose ideas matter. But at the end of the day, it's very helpful to have a singular person who's waking up, conducting that particular orchestra. And that's exactly what we're doing with this role here at Zapier as it relates to our own AI transformation.
It's fantastic. And is it a role that you think every organization would benefit from? Or is there certain characteristics of an organization where you think this role has particular value and benefit?
I think that any organization who has decided that AI is an essential part of their and their customers' future needs to have a leader guiding the way. And what's interesting is I think that that leader could have various titles today. Some organizations are going to choose their technical leader. Some organizations may choose their talent or people leader, or who knows, right? But the characteristics, as I'm talking with my new peers in this role, that seem to matter most is someone who deeply understands the opportunity for that company specifically, not just in general, and who also really understands how work gets done in the organization.
And speaking of calling the whole company in, one of the things I admire most about you is you have a bias toward ensuring that everyone in the organization is using the technology. And I think, is it 97% of Zapier employees are using AI already as part of their day-to-day work?
Yes, in day-to-day work. And we're gonna close that 3% gap before you know it.
Yeah. Well, how do you get that adoption?
Well, I give a lot of credit starting with Wade, our CEO. It was 2.5 years ago in the spring of 2023. He declared a code red on AI for the company, which really just meant there's an amazing opportunity in front of us to serve our customers better. Zapier's mission is to make automation work for everyone. And even 2.5 years ago with AI, we could see that that was maybe the single biggest step forward we could take towards that mission since the company started 14 years ago. But we also knew that if we didn't meet that moment, we were going to miss a massive opportunity. It was going to pass us by. And so one thing I respect about Wade's leadership as it relates to AI is that, he didn't wait for consensus. When we issued that code red, it wasn't universally popular. And it was never going to become that way by just waiting and hoping that folks would ultimately get on the same page. It was actually only by setting that vision and explaining how that was tied to both not just the company's success over time, but also what we're really trying to do in the world, to our mission, that we were able to start getting that alignment. And I know that took courage, and I'm glad we got started when we did.
Yeah, we often talk about the importance of both bottom up and top down change. And it absolutely needs to come from the top at the get-go to, set that vision, set that intention around AI.
You bet. The other thing you made me think of when you were talking about that adoption of, up to 97%, there were some other very practical things that we did right after that code red moment that any organization could do today to get folks kind of leaning into the opportunity. By the way, starting with leaders, Wade was really clear that leaders need to get hands on keyboard and model the type of experimentation and wayfinding, right, that we all ultimately need to do in the organization. We created a couple of really simple forums, Slack channels in our case, where folks could ask any question, no judgment, about AI and get a speedy, helpful answer. And then another channel where folks could start showing what they were building. Demos, here's the thing that didn't work, things of that nature. And that just starts to normalize this notion that, this is important for us, that it's for everyone, but also that it's certainly not going to be a straight line from where we are to the people in the company that we want to be.
Sure. Now, adoption is one thing, impact is another. So many organizations right now are struggling to connect the dots, to transform AI strategies and initiatives into real business outcomes. How do you think about that at Zapier?
Yeah, this may sound obvious, but I think it's starting with the business outcomes that the company already cares about, right? AI it's a tool, it's a technology, it has a lot of promise, but it's really just a canvas. It's a medium for getting things done. And so really the question we all need to start with is, what are we trying to be exceptional at in our organization? What's the big problem or big opportunity we need to get on top of right now? That's the start. And then the second question is, and how might AI help us get there? And in some cases, depending on the opportunity or the job to be done, there may be a pretty straightforward hypothesis or bet to be made. In other cases, it may be less obvious. But starting with the things the business already cares about does two things. The first, I think is very empowering, because the founding material for AI transformation is the existing, mission, strategy, and goals of the company. And in that way, none of our companies are starting from scratch. The second way it's really helpful is it helps the organization maintain focus. Because like we talked about earlier, there are no straight lines from like the potential of AI and actual AI transformation, like true business impact. And so we have to be okay with, puts and takes along the way.
So we're ending the year. 2025 is almost over. Imagine we're back here at the end of 2026, Glean Live. What will we be talking about in terms of the biggest shift we've seen over the next year?
I think a lot of our organizations kind of see the opportunity as we've talked about it today. I fully expect that a year from now, we'll have many more practical case studies of companies that are really doing it.
Amazing. Well, I hope we're back in a year and talking about it.
Me too.
Brandon, thank you so much for joining us.
This is great, Rebecca.